Profile of proficient reader. What made a child a better reader than all the other children? In a study of proficient readers, David Pearson, 1970, was able to determine several common strategies used by proficient readers that enable them to make sense of the text. A condensed version of this research is what is described as the profile of a proficient reader, Gear 2006. A good reader is metacognitive, aware, and able to use and articulate the following strategies in order to interact with the text and enhance meaning. The first one is make connections. How do readers make connections? Good readers make connections by using what they already know to connect a text to their life experiences, another text, or the world. Especially connections is like a puzzle pieces. We will fit it together to make a picture. So, when we make connection, we fit together things what we seen, things what we might already know. We put them together to make a picture so that we can better understand what we're reading. There are three ways to make a connection with a book or a text. The first way is text to self. Second way is text to text. And the third way is text to world. Text to self means connecting the story of your life and experiences. Text to text means connecting the story to another books. And the last, text to world, means connecting the story to real world. Next, ask questions. Good readers ask questions. Before you read the text, practice being a good reader while you listen. Think about different questions you have about the story or a text. Remember the 5 W's: who, what, when, why, and how. We ask questions to help us better understand what we read, like who are the characters. Another strategy is visualize. Good readers visualize as they read. To visualize means to see the pictures or something like a movie in your mind as you read a words. When you visualize while reading, you will get all your senses be involved, like to see, to hear, to taste, to smell, to feel, and you'll become emotionally involved on what you're reading. The writer or author use a powerful words to help us visualize as we see, as we hear, taste, smell, and feel as we read the word. Determine importance. Determining importance is knowing the author's intent for writing and understanding the big ideas of the text. So, how do we determine importance? We determine importance in non-fiction text by overviewing, like skimming and scanning the text. Another is highlighting. It is about sorting important information and jotting down your thinking. And lastly, noticing text features like titles, headings, and caption. Drawing inference. A good reader knows that not all information is included in a text and is able to reasonably fill in, hypothesize, and predict based on the evidence on the text. Drawing inference while reading is an effective way on finding out what is concealed and not explicitly stated on a text. Next, analyze and synthesize. Analyze means closely studying the text, discovering its meaning, and exploring what a writer made the choices that he made, while on synthesize is putting together information from the text with your own prior knowledge to develop new ideas and understanding. As a result, you may create a conclusion based on your thinking on a text. Lastly, monitor comprehension. Reading is not about calling words, it is about understanding what you are reading. A good readers monitor their comprehension to ensure that they are understanding the text that they are reading. So what does monitor mean? Monitor means to keep track. So you're keeping track of whether you're understanding the main ideas and argument. And comprehension means the ability to grasp the main idea arguments of a text. Down the 7 strategies to 5, like connect, questions, visualize, infer, and synthesize or transform. These 5 are considered the ones that students could best learn and the teachers could most easily implement in order to create a language or thinking in the classroom.
Good day, everyone. I am Jacqueline H. Jenson from Grade 1F, and I am your report for reading and my topics about phases of reading. In 1985, British psychologist Uta Pritt developed a 3 phases model of how the brain acquires the ability to read.
Reading is considered one of the most important skills. Reading is a mental process. There are many definitions of reading. Reading is when someone looks into a written text and starts to absorb the information from the written linguistic message. And the purpose of teaching reading is to aim a reading program to enable students to read without help, unfamiliar synthetic text at appropriate speed, silently and with adequate understanding. And the process of learning how to read can vary from child to child. Although there are certain reading milestones, most children hit at similar points. Each child will learn at his or her own pace, in his or her own way. Every child will move through each stage when they are ready and proficient in the previous stage. A child's previous literacy experiences influence progression through the stage. This is different for all children as they do not start school with similar levels of literacy exposure. As children move through the 5 reading stages, they need to learn, practice, and master multiple reading strategies. These include using prior knowledge, predicting, visualizing, questioning, comprehension, drawing inference, summarizing, synthesizing, and knowing when it is to use each strategy. Reading is not just about identifying a word, it is about so much more.
These are the 3 stages that you should follow during a reading lesson. 1 is pre-reading stage, and 2 while reading or during reading stage, and 3 is post-reading stage. Pre-reading stage is a guidance before reading may involve providing a reason for reading, introduction of the text, breaking up the text, dealing with unfamiliar language, and asking leading questions. Noted 1996.
At this stage, you will see children to understanding print has meaning, familiar with handling books, commenting on illustrations with guidance, starting to recognize letter names and sounds, having a good grasp of oral language, relating a story to their own experiences, and pretending to read a story starting to rhyme. Teaching a reading lesson requires that you are familiar with the framework used to teach a reading lesson. A reading lesson is made up of activities to activate student background knowledge, present new vocabulary, and tasks while students read the passage and after the reading is over.
Reading lesson, pre-reading. Pre-reading activities are activities that help students think about what they know about a topic and predict what they will read or hear.
The purpose of pre-reading activities are to establish a purpose for reading, improve vocabulary so a student can complete the reading task successfully, predict what they are going, and establish what they know about a topic. Examples is KWL charts are simple, just have students write everything they know about the topic and everything they want to know and what they learn after the reading. And true or false, example of the influence of social media on teenagers. You can come to the classroom and read a few statements and ask them if they think those statements are true or false. And last is videos. There is so much good free content available these days. Play the video and then ask the student to talk with a partner about what they saw.
Number 2. While reading or during reading stage. The stage will be dominated with discussion and activities that match student interest in order to help the teacher steer the activities toward achieving the purpose, and their self-confidence grows as they feel like a reader.
At this stage, you will children starting to memorize the story, taking risk, beginning to memorize common sight word, making connection between sounds and print, using the illustrations to tell the story, starting to read for meaning, starting to predict unknown word using visual cues, and using rhyming knowledge to add change and delete phonemes or individual sounds to make new words, combining strategies in their attempts to read unknown text. And don't make children feel self-conscious about predicting or guessing words. It will only make the reading progression more difficult as they read more complex books.
While reading activities defined as activities that help students to focus on aspect of the text and to understand it better, the goal of these activities is to help learners to deal as they would deal with it as if the text was written in their first language.
Examples: identify topic, sentence, and the main idea of paragraphs. The main idea of a paragraph is the author's message about the topic. Remember that every paragraph usually includes a topic sentence. General and specific ideas. General ideas usually express the main point or main idea of a piece of writing, and specific ideas provide evidence to further define the general or main idea and prove that it is valid. Identify the connectors to see how they link ideas within the text. Confirm prediction. Check whether or not prediction and guesses are confirmed. Skim a text for a specific information. Skimming is the ability to locate the main idea within a text. Using this reading strategy will help students to become proficient readers.
And false reading activities help students understand text further through critically analyzing what they have read.
The main purpose of the post-reading stage is to further develop and clarify interpretation of the text and to help students remember what they have individually created in their minds from the text. Post or after reading activities are helpful for several reasons. It helps students use the newly learned words. It promotes the use of the language in creative ways. And remember that post-reading activities are prayer activities that tend to focus mainly in two skills, which is speaking and listening. Examples: creative writing. As a student to choose 10 to 15 words from the text, you can provide categories for the words: the most interesting words, the most important word. Student then write a text using the words. This text could be story, poem, or news report. Areas of interest. Ask student to say which part of the text is the most important and interesting, and which part is not interesting or important. Creative discussions. Prepare 4 or 5 simple questions and ask student to talk about those questions for 3 minutes. And after that, ask one member of each pair to go and talk to another person of the group. Quiz your classmates. This activity can help us determine how much students learn during the reading. And last is finding related news. After students have finished reading, they can browse on the internet for a news related to something they read.
Hello everyone, I am Marisol Vergara and I'm here to discuss the first and second parts of strategies for developing reading skills. In pre-reading, we have visual imagery, think, pair, share or the TPS, think aloud, first line and KWL chart. In visual imagery, good readers construct mental images as they read a text. With the use of prior knowledge and of background experiences, readers connect with the author's writing with the personal pictures. Are you wondering how to apply these? Here it is. Visual imagery can take place before, during, or after reading. It can be taught to small group, whole group, or individual. Visualization is an important part of comprehension because students need to be comprehending to their text. When readers having a hard time understanding what they are reading, this is a good strategy to teach them. It helps them to create images, scenarios, or even movies in their mind that reflects the text. Next, the think, pair, share, or the TPS. TPS is a collaborative learning strategy where students work together to solve a problem or answer a question about the assigned reading. This requires the students to think individually about the topic or answer the question, and share the ideas with their classmates. TPS will help the student to think about a topic or answer a question. It teaches students to share the ideas with their classmates and it builds oral communication skills. How to use the TPS? First, decide upon the text to be read and develop a set of questions or prompts that target key content concepts. And after that, describe the purpose of the strategy and provide guidelines for discussion and monitor and support the student as they work through the following. Think. Teachers begin by asking a specific question about the text. Students think about what they know or have learned about the topic. Next is pair. Each student should be paired with another student or a small group. Next is share. Students share their thinking with their partner. Teachers will expand the share into a whole class discussion. Next is the think aloud. This has been described as eavesdropping on someone's thinking. With this strategy, teachers verbalize aloud while reading a selection orally. Their verbalization include describing things they are doing as they read to monitor their comprehension. It also helps students learn to monitor their reading. as they read and improve their comprehension. And it teaches students to reread a sentence, read ahead to clarify, and to look for context clue to make sense of what they read. Here are some ways to use the think aloud. First is begin by modeling this strategy. Model your thinking as you read. Do this at points in the text that may be confusing for students, like a new vocabulary or unusual sentence construction. Second is introduce the assigned text and discuss the purpose of the think aloud strategy. Develop a set of questions to support the think aloud, like, what do I know about this topic? What do I think I will learn about this topic? Do I have a clear picture in my mind or in my head about this information? First line is a pre-reading strategy in which students read the beginning sentence from a book and then make prediction about that book. This technique helps students focus their attention on what they can tell first line of the story, play, poem, or even other texts. And it helps students to learn to make prediction about the content of what they're about to read or what is about to read to them. How to use this strategy? Choose the assigned reading and introduce the text to the students. Then, ask the student to read only the first line of the assigned text. Next is, ask the student to make prediction of the reading based on the first sentence. And last is, engage the class in discussion about the prediction. KWL chart. They are the tools that enables teachers to activate prior knowledge in a way that will engage the student in activation, making him an active learner rather than a passive listener. KWL stands for Know, Want, Learn. This is an effective way to read with purpose. It is easy to apply and can lead to significant improvements in the student ability to learn effectively, and it retain what the student learned. Here is some strategies during reading. First is concept map, direct reading thinking activity or DTRA, concept map, jigsaw, question the author. Concept map is a visual organizer that can enrich students' understanding in a new concept. Using a graphic organizer, the students think about the concept in several ways. Concept map help the student organize new information and make meaningful connection between the main ideas and other information. And concept map are easy to construct and can be used within any content area. How to use this? First is model to identify the major ideas or concept presented in a section of the text as you read. Organize the ideas into categories. Remind students that your organization may change as you continue to read and add more information. Use lines or arrows on the map to present how ideas are connected to one another, a particular category, and the main concept. Limit the amount of information on the map to avoid frustration. Next is the DRTA, or the Direct Reading Thinking Activity. This is a comprehension strategy that guides students in asking questions about the text, making prediction, and reading to confirm or refute their prediction. DTRA encourages students to be active and thoughtful reader. It also activates the prior knowledge and it teaches students to monitor their understanding of the text as they read. DTRA also helps strengthen reading and critical thinking skills. How to use the DTRA? First is direct. Teachers direct and activate student thinking prior to read a passage by scanning the title, chapter heading, illustration, or other materials. Teachers should use an open-ended question to direct students as they make prediction about the context or perspective of the text. For example, given this title, what do you think the passage will be about? Second is reading. Students read up to the first pre-selected stopping point. The teacher then prompts the student when with question about the specific and refine them if necessary. This process should be continued until students have read each section of the passage. Last is think. At the end of each section, students go back through the text and think about their prediction by finding supporting statement in the text. The teacher can ask questions such as, what do you think about this prediction now? What do you find in the text to prove your prediction? Next is story maps. This is a strategy that uses graphic organizer to help students learn the elements of the book or story. By identifying story characters such as plot, setting, problem, and solution, students read carefully to learn the details. Story maps improve students' comprehension. It also provides students with the framework for identifying the elements of the story. And it varies the ability of students to organize information and ideas effectively. How to use the story map? First is discuss the main component of the story. For example, is the character, setting, plot, and theme. Provide each student a bland story map. After reading, they should fill any missing parts. Next is the jigsaw. Jigsaw is a cooperative learning strategy that enables each student of the home group to specialize one aspect of topic. For example, one group studies habitat of rainforest animals. Other group studies the predators of rainforest animals. Students meet with members from other group who are assigned with the same aspect, and after mastering the material, return to the home group and teach the material to their group members. Jigsaw helps students to build comprehension, and it encourages cooperative learning among the students. And last strategy during reading is the question the author. This strategy engages students actively with the text rather than reading and taking information about the text. The Q&A strategy encourages students to ask questions to the author of the text. Q&A engages students in the reading, and it helps solidify their understanding of the text. It also teaches the student to form questions to the author while reading. How to use the Q&A? First is select a passage that is both interesting and can spur a good conversation. Second is decide appropriate stopping point where you think your student need to obtain greater understanding. And create queries or question for each stopping point. Here my report will end. I hope you learned a lot on what I discussed about the strategies for developing reading skills. And the next presenter, we will learn the last part of these strategies.
Good evening, everyone. I am Raven G. Villanueva, and I will discuss to you the strategies for developing reading skills. After the pre-reading and during reading, now let's proceed to post-reading. Post-reading is activities or ones in which students summarize, reflect, or question what they just read. Summarizing is defined as shifting through information to find what is important. So we need to teach our students to do this as well. Summarizing is a process of organizing, categorizing, and filtering out less significant information during and after reading. The first thing you want to do is visually. Can the text looking at the pictures, the subheadings, and topic sentences to try to determine the main idea. While doing this, student can use highlighters or pens to annotate the text as well. After that, you want to have students to ask themselves, is the text mostly about based on what I visually scan in the text. After that, we want them to go back and read the text with the main idea in mind. While they are reading, we want them to check the facts to see if they match the main idea that they thought about first.
There are three key points to remember. One is model this strategy while thinking aloud for students. Second point is to allow students to highlight and annotate using notations that benefit their needs. And third, you want to support students in monitoring information that is repeated in the text and that will help them in determining the main idea.
Next is exit slip. Question or prompt given at the end of class and required before student can leave to complete before moving on to the next lesson or next class. It incorporates writing into all contents areas. One of the ways to use an exit ticket is to align exit slip question to your learning object. The question on your exit slip to your learning object for the day. By doing that, you can get quick formative assessment and whether or not your lesson and learning object was successfully. You can then use that data to drive instruction into your next lesson. Additionally, you might provide a prompt for students to ask questions of you after the lesson over. In this way, students become responsible for their own learning and asking you questions about what they don't understand. Here are some examples of exit slip. Story sequence. Sequencing refers to the identification of the components of a story, the beginning, middle, and end, and also to the ability to retell the events within a given text in order in which they occurred. Why teach story sequence? Sequence structure helps students of varying abilities organize information and ideas efficiently. Sequencing is also an important component of problem solving across the curriculum, including science and social studies.
Example, the story of Ram and the elephant. Mom told Ram not to let anyone into the house while she was away. First, Ram heard a knock. Next, let an elephant in the two on rainy day. Then, there are muddy marks and puddles anywhere. After that, the elephant ate up everything that Mom had made. In the end, Mom came back and boy were they in trouble. Transition words. First, next, then, after, and finally are some words that let us figure out the sequence in a story.
Question-answer relationship, or QAR. Have you ever fallen asleep while reading? Have you ever read a page in a book and had no idea what you just read? Do you often get bored while reading? Good readers ask a lot of questions when they read. This helps you stay focused on the text, deepen your understanding, and keep your curiosity alive and your brain on. There are different types of questions. Right there, think and search, and on my own question. Write their question, where the answer is easily found in the text. Example, who are the characters? Where the main characters lives? What is the main character's job? You can point to the answer or write their question with one finger in the book. Think and search questions, where the answer can be found in more than one place in the text. You need to look through many sentences to find the answer. Example, what happened before the main character go to school? Or compare and contrast the two characters' personalities. And next is on my own question, where the answer is nowhere to be found in the text. You don't need to read the text to answer these questions. For example, what would you do if you had nothing to eat? How would you react in this situation? This QAR or question answer relationship, it can improve students' reading comprehension. It helps students to think about the text they are reading and beyond it. And also it inspires them to think creatively and work cooperatively while challenging them to use higher level thinking skills. Paragraph shrinking is an activity developed as part of the peer-assisted learning strategies. The paragraph shrinking strategy allows each student to take turns reading, pausing, and summarizing the main points of each paragraph. Students provide each other with feedback as a way to monitor comprehension. Paragraph shrinking has 3 steps. First, name the who or what of the paragraph, which is the main person, animal, or thing. Second is tell the most important thing about the who or what. And last one is say the main idea in 10 words or less than main idea may have a couple of details. Example.
Randy woke up suddenly from a deep sleep. Outside, the morning light was changing from black to light gray. Randy felt a scared feeling deep down in the bottom of his stomach. Today was the day for basketball tryouts at Westview School. This was the first year Westview School had a ball team, and Randy wanted to be one of the first players. Randy looked at his alarm clock and saw that the hand pointed to 5 p.m. Randy groaned and turned over in head. He had to wait 3 more hours until tryouts. When the alarm went off at 6 a.m., Randy got up and got dressed as fast as he could. Now, let's apply the 3 steps. Name the who or what. The main person is Randy. Second, tell the most important thing about who or what. The answer, Randy has basketball tryout. And last is say the main idea in 10 words or less. The answer, Randy has a basketball tryout at Westview School this morning.
The main purpose of pause reading pace is to check for accurate comprehension of the text. Too often students are asked to read a selection and then never get a chance to discuss the piece they had read.